Is your diet causing your mental health issues? My name is Dr. Ruth Dotton. I'm a board certified adult psychiatrist, and I talk a lot on this app about the importance of approaching patients in a holistic way and using lifestyle and metabolic interventions in addition to, or for some people instead of, medications to try and target root causes and give people sustainable ways that they can improve their mental health. So we're starting off a series where I'm talking all about your diet. Let's start talking about what in your diet can lead to mental health issues, or at least contribute to your mental health issues. So I'm going to use a buzzword here, and we're going to start off with talking about ultra-processed foods. Now, I say all this with a caveat that we do not have a formal or agreed upon definition for what is an ultra-processed food. Most types of food have some kind of processing. Whenever you cook a food, you cut it, you add fat, different herbs and seasonings, you cook it, you are changing the chemical composition of the food. But when I'm talking about ultra-processed foods, I'm talking about foods that have been highly processed, not something that you could make at home. Foods that have a very long list of ingredients, many of which you cannot read, and foods that are specifically rich in refined sugars and flours, as well as seed oils. And for frame of reference, in our standard American diet, about 60% of our diet consists of these ultra-processed foods, meaning that it's only 40% of our diet that is coming from whole food sources. So how do these ultra-processed foods contribute to mental health issues? So things that have refined sugars and carbohydrates are going to contribute to insulin resistance. The process of breaking down those carbohydrates is also going to lead to some level of inflammation. And we also know that these types of foods are going to lead to gut issues. Dysbiosis, meaning an imbalance in the good and bad types of gut bacteria that are required for good physical and mental health. You all may have heard of the gut-brain connection, and this goes all the way back to our embryonic tissue. The gut and the brain are formed from the same embryonic tissue, and they're still connected from the vagus nerve. And the bacteria in your gut communicate with your brain, and the brain communicates with the bacteria in your gut. All that to say, these refined sugars, carbohydrates, and seed oils can contribute to gut issues, which have an effect on absorption, inflammation, anxiety, and a whole host of other things. And we know that inflammation is a significant component of multiple mental health issues. Insulin resistance is the state in which your body is requiring high levels of insulin in order to manage the constant influx of these refined carbohydrates and sugars, which are going to lead to spikes in your blood sugar. And so the insulin is there to try and keep your blood sugar at a normal level. Over time, the body becomes more resistant to this insulin because it's constantly exposed, it's trying to accommodate, but eventually it's going to get to the point where it can't accommodate anymore. That's when you're going to have elevations in your blood sugar, and that's when you're going to develop diabetes. So when you're in a state of insulin resistance, your brain is not able to utilize the carbohydrates and sugars that it's exposed to for fuel because the insulin receptors in your neurons is not able to take up that sugar. And when there's not adequate fuel, your cellular metabolism is going to struggle. What about refined seed oils? So when I'm talking about these, I'm talking about things like canola oil, vegetable oil, soybean oil, rapeseed oil. So these are all omega-6 oils, which are not in and of themselves bad. We do need some omega-6 oils in our brain in order to be able to function. But it's the imbalance of omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids that lead to things like inflammation and oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is basically the process by which there's damage caused by free radicals. You can think of it kind of as collateral damage that happens when you consume things that you shouldn't. This can damage proteins, organelles, cellular membrane components. We're supposed to have this balance of omega-3s and omega-6s, but because of how much seed oil we consume, this imbalance is way off, which leads to oxidative stress and this pro-inflammatory state, which are both going to contribute to mental health issues. Am I suggesting that you completely eliminate these foods? That really is going to depend on the person. For some people, completely restricting those foods is going to lead to an unhealthy relationship with food. Whereas for others, complete abstinence is the only way that they're able to maintain some sort of balance. At the very least, I would recommend minimizing your intake of these sorts of foods, having it be like a special occasion type of thing. recognizing that consuming this every once in a while is probably not going to have a hugely detrimental effect on your mental health as long as you can keep it to every once in a while. But if you can't keep it to every once in a while, then you may want to consider abstinence. Think about trying it out. Maybe go for a week or so without these ultra processed foods and see how you feel. Keeping in mind that there may also be a withdrawal period from all of the sugars and carbohydrates you're used to eating that may be a little bit uncomfortable. This can look like irritability, muscle aches, headache, insomnia. So if you don't immediately feel better, don't give up. If you've had an experience with making dietary changes that you found to be helpful, then please share in the comments below. I'm also putting together an email list for those of you who are interested in my content because I may have future courses or offerings and I want to be able to communicate directly with you all about those things. So if that's you, send me a DM with your email and I'll see you in the next one.